Yeah, buddy. Quick bites.
I really like films when they talk about what's behind the scenes, and you did Dick Dickster, which is actually a great movie. It's really funny. And what's really fun about that is I feel like, you're sort of showing some of the life behind the scenes. I always think about, growing up, you're watching movies and it's a fantasy world. You don't really think about how all that stuff is produced. And then as I got older, I said, well, what kind of, it's got to be like a job. You still have to, punch in and punch out. And there's just a lot of people doing a lot of things. And your movie was hysterical because it's like, oh, wow, sometimes it can be dysfunctional. So have you ever had experiences like that in your career?
Well, not to that extreme. Obviously, that's that's as weird a universe as I could create, right? What I was going for there, when I first started learning how to act, I went to acting school with a great LA teacher named Peggy Fury, and we studied playwrights and specific styles of theater, including French farce, which was the playwrights Moliere and Feydeau. And so the thing about farce is that it's amplified at pace and absurdity. So that's really, I mean, Dickster's absurd, but his world is still as weird and real enough in the end. Even though it's absurd, you still kind of believe what's happening.
It's a lower budget movie, right? I don't think that's an offensive thing to say. It seemed like you were thinking that way.
Oh yeah, no, it's deconstructed movie making is what it is. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say it. I made it in 6 days for $75,000. I worked on one of the most famous movies of all time in the low budget, Robert Townsend's Hollywood Shuffle. Robert Townsend made that movie for $100,000 in 1987 on his credit cards. And so it only took me 30 years to realize what Robert was teaching me was make your own movie. Don't wait to get a part from somebody else. Make your own movie, play the role you've always wanted to play. So the part I always wanted to play was Peter O'Toole in The Stuntman. He's an absurd director. I mean, an amazing role for Peter O'Toole. Is one of the greatest actors ever. So that's really where the seed of the character started. Then I just made it even more ridiculous.
Well, we know you're a writer on there. It also said that you're a producer. I've never really known what the role of a producer is. Is it somebody who comes in with the cash, or is it somebody who's like, I'm working for the person with the cash and I'm going to help shape it?
It's all of that. I mean, I don't really like producing. It's too much work. I mean, I did everything on this movie, which is great because it makes it my movie. But also when the distributor says, I need a line by line of everything that's said and done in the movie. Who did that? The producer, me. I mean, that took me a couple of days to do that. It's funny. I always tell a funny story about this. When we made that movie Dickster, I wanted to make it what's known as comedy safe, where it could play on TV. So that meant that I didn't write many swear words into the script. However, it ended up with 54 F-bombs. Just the actors. I mean, actors just can't say a sentence without it anymore, right? I mean, Tim Abel, who played Tony Bertoni, the hitman in the movie, he drops 4 of them in the first 20 seconds on screen. And so I was like, Tim, this is not comedy safe. But and now when I'm cutting the movie, there's no way to cut any of it out or cut around it. I don't have alternate takes. I didn't take the time to do them when we were shooting it. But the amazing thing about making the movie was that, like I said, we did it in 6 days, but we were actually doing 15-page days and wrapping early. Of course, the key to that was the mockumentary style. We had 3 cameras going at all times, so every scene is covered, wide, medium, and close. And so amazing how much footage you have when you have 3 cameras running.
You have to sit with the editor and sort of direct where the edits are made, or is an editor somebody who just kind of goes off and tries to create something from that person's own vision? Because I can't imagine you're also sitting in the editing bay.
No, I cut it. I insisted on having final cut. That's the only way you can make the movie yours, is if you're the one who's cutting it. Now, I had an editor who worked inside the scenes, but I assembled all the scenes the way I wanted them. And like I said, with handheld cameras, that changes the perspective. That means you're not having to worry about crossing axes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can grab inside the shot. So he fine-tuned my scenes, but no, I cut it. I love cutting it. That's how you make a movie. You got to have the footage to make it, but it's all about cutting it. The first edit of Dickster was 2 hours and 11 minutes. Now, you can't have a comedy that's 2 hours and 11 minutes. So I cut that down to 87 minutes. And it was hard because I loved the stuff. It was funny. I mean, I didn't want to get rid of it, but did it keep the narrative on the train track? And like I said, I wanted to be at farce pace. So that means that fast.
So you're saying farce pace, like FARCE, like it's a farce.
FARCE, farce.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely. Yeah. I get that. I get that because it's one of those movies where something is always happening next, and you're just, what's going to happen now?
Well, there has to be a fight in every scene, right? Dick has to have a fight. There has to be conflict. I mean, listen. Here's the thing about Dick Dickster. He's everything that Hollywood claims to hate. Hollywood claims to hate misogyny, but they're misogynist as hell. They claim to be, hate racism. I don't, I've been around it for 40 years. I've seen a lot of it. So, as long as you say you're a good person, then everything's fine, right? Oh no, I hate racism, or Harvey Weinstein is essentially Dick Dickster. I mean, Dick Dickster's everywhere: Amazon Prime, YouTube, Google Play, Redbox, anywhere streaming is happening. I believe it's available on DVD as well. Funniest movie of the year for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one, man. We enjoyed it
very much. So
it's funny. Do not attempt any drinking games. Do not drink when you hear the name Dick Dickster. You'll die. You die in the first act. Or do not even attempt drinking games when Dick gets kicked in the nuts. That happens. I don't know how many times we did it, but the director, my cousin Chris Ray, he's like, "Do you think we've kicked him in the nuts one too many times?" I'm like, let's do it again. I like when the little man is doing, is doing the Rock'em Sock'em Robots. I remember when we were cutting it, I was like, more noise. We need more punching noises there.
That was a good one. That was a good scene.
That's why I hired him. That whole, first of all, I'd worked with him before. I love that guy. Pancho Moeller played Teddy Spitz, the gay costume designer. But the whole scene was set up, could see that was set up just for that bar fight scene where, his height, he's so small that he's right at my crotch. And I'm like, that's funny. That's going to be funny. That needs to go on, And so every time I would turn in, the editor would be trying to take more out of it. I'd be like, no, let's let that. That's funny.
Yeah.
A minute beating in your balls. That's funny. Everybody knows that's funny.
Yeah, we highly recommend everyone to check out Dick Dickster. This has been fun, man. We really appreciate it.
All right, man.